But I was called in to start doing ancestor work in the year 2014. I did go kicking and screaming. I didn't see why I'm a pretty spiritual person, why do I need to add another level? And it has turned out to be a rich body of work. All indigenous cultures are what is considered, ancestor worshiper is what Christians call them. They don't worship the ancestors, they honor the ancestors. They have respect for their fathers and their grandfathers and their mothers and their grandmothers who've gone before them. For us in our Western culture, we really don't even know what was Grandma's name, what was her birthday, what did she do for a living, how long was she in Grandma, where did they live, where did their parents come from? Like, we really don't know. Many of us don't even know our parents' birthdays, or we don't even know our parents' middle names. But in indigenous cultures, or even in a culture like an Italian culture, they can tell you what their parents' names and their grandparents and great-grandparents, and they know that history. So in the Western culture, we think of ancestors as being blood relatives, and only blood relatives, or genetic relatives, part of our genetic line. In indigenous cultures, they think of, first of all, trees are considered relatives. The water, the Puget Sound would be considered a relative. The orca whales are considered relatives. The stars are considered relatives. Medicinal plants, relatives. Cockroaches are considered relatives. So they are all your relations. So Moya Takan Oyasan means all of my relations. So when I'm praying and when I'm thinking about life in my life, I'm also thinking about all of my relations. So Mount Rainier is one of my ancestors, and so I made a visit yesterday, and I burned some impepu, and I sat by a little creek, and I thanked Mount Rainier for, Mount Rainier's in Pierce County. That's our mountain. If anybody lives in King County or anywhere else, you might think that's your mountain, but it's our mountain. But I ask for the uplifting presence of Mount Rainier all the time, so I wanted to make sure to thank that presence. What about our parents? How often do we honor and thank our parents for all that they have done to uplift us? Or if our parents were pretty brutal, and I've heard lots of stories, how often do we thank the divine or thank our parents for teaching us how to stand in our strength and no longer take their bullying? You know, so it's all about gratitude. All these pieces are all about gratitude. And so we don't do that very much. In indigenous cultures, when they come together, the elders are, the younger people would make a plate of food, the elders go sit down and you bring it to them. But I see so many times now in our culture, we get together for Thanksgiving, we get together for Christmas or whatever, Hanukkah, or whatever holiday you're celebrating, and we run, grab the food, fill our plate, go sit down, we just munching down, and little granny at 95 is trying to hold her plate and trying to get things, and people don't notice. And so that's one little thing that you can do to start honoring your ancestors, is to notice the elders and notice what their needs are. Do you need a cup of coffee? Do you need a drink of water? And so you'll see that a lot in indigenous cultures.